Insecurity is one of the most dangerous and destructive forces that will wreak havoc on your business. It will destroy your sales, it will destroy your opportunities, it will destroy partnerships. It will really come out in wonky ways in all the practical pieces that you do not want to experience. That is what we're talking about in today's live podcast episode, Confident AF Live. This is part of a 5-part series, part 3 of 5 parts, where we talk about the biggest emotional stumbling blocks to building a thriving and successful business as an entrepreneur, as a badass business owner. And I'm just going to admit humbly to all of you that I am an insecure person. And I know as soon as I say this, some of you are being like, I know, me too. And here's why. I don't know why. I do know why, but I don't know why. I do why, but I don't know why. Here's why I know I'm insecure, because people have really hurt me. People have really hurt me in a lot of different ways. People close to me, people that I loved, family members, friends, people in high school, people in the church have deeply wounded and hurt me and caused me to feel very insecure about who I am, what I have to offer, and what I have to give. And I don't know why, even after knowing that I'm insecure, that it is still pieces of me that struggle with this. I don't know. I would love to confess to you all that I feel like I'm becoming less and less of an insecure person. But in order for me to become less of an insecure person, I have to first accept that I am an insecure person, which is really not fun to admit that you can be an insecure person. But it's that curious paradox. And one of the famous psychologists, I think it was Sigmund Freud, said the curious, and I could be wrong. If you are a psychologist, feel free to leave comments and tell me who said this. But it is this curious paradox that when you accept who you are, then you can actually change. And it boils down to this incredible power of honesty inside of your business. And that's one of the things that I really love to do with people that are inside of my Born to Slay Mindset Mastermind and any of my coaching clients is I give them a safe space to be honest about how they feel, where they don't feel like they're being judged by their peers, they're not being judged by their team members, they're not being judged by a significant other. They can just let the guard down and just be really brutally honest about how they feel about themselves, how they feel about other people, how they feel about their business. And that dose of honesty is what actually allows people to change who they are and for them to be healed. I've always said that the biggest piece to having an incredible business is being honest with God about who you are, where you're at, what you're frustrated with, what you're disappointed with, where you want to grow, what you want to see. Because if you're not honest about all that, you're not having a good relationship with your creator. Because one of the biggest building blocks with any relationship is trust. And trust is built on honesty. And there's been many times in my building my own businesses where I have yelled at God, where I've been angry at God, when I've harbored bitter angerness and resentment toward God. And I want to be very clear, you do not want to stay that way toward your creator, because you're cutting off the love that's available for you to experience. And the reason why I was honest and why I was telling the truth is because I knew that's not what I wanted to feel toward God. What I wanted to feel toward God is I wanted to feel safety. I wanted to feel safe. I wanted to feel loved. I wanted to feel accepted. I wanted to feel approved. And that is the exact opposite emotional feeling of insecurity. So now we are back to insecurity inside of your business. And so I want to first remind you that insecurity just means a lack of security. So when you are insecure of your business, it means that you have a lack of security in a piece of who you are, whether personal in your personal life. This could be your appearance. It could be your sexual orientation. It could be your religious beliefs. It could be your weight. It could be your hair color. It could be a lot of different things personally. Insecurity in your business just means that you don't feel secure, safe in maybe your leadership, what you know about marketing, your finances, your service, your ability to attract higher level clients. There's a lot of pieces you can experience inside of your business that are feelings of insecurity. Now, the reason why this matters is because if you're insecure in your business and you have a lack of security, you are not going to be confident in that area of your business. And when you have a lack of confidence, it means you have a lack of certainty. And I've always said that the more certain you are in your business about how you can help people, how you can serve the world, the more certain you are in your prices, the more certain your clients and the world is going to be and what you have to give, which is really a superpower that God has given us because he is the healer of our insecurities through Christ Jesus. He is the healer of those pieces where we feel broken, where we feel weak, where we don't feel good enough. And that is why our businesses are an incredible opportunity for God to develop that relationship with us and for his goodness and grace to shine forth as we serve the world with the gifts that he has bestowed upon us that are of high service and worthy of massive compensation. Remember, money inside of your business and people paying you is a result of you adding value and serving other people. And so feelings of not good enough, feelings of not being smart enough, feelings of not being talented enough, feelings of not being respected enough. How many of you have felt disrespected for your talent, disrespected for your time, disrespected for the value that you provide, disrespected for what you've given to other people? I think we've all felt that. And usually when we feel disrespected, it's two different pieces. One, it could be our ego getting in the way, thinking that we are much higher than where we actually are in building our business. It could also be that you are not honoring yourself and you don't have proper boundaries in place inside of your business, which is allowing people to disrespect you. There are two sides of this coin. Oftentimes, we inflate ourselves to make ourselves feel better. And so our prices can be a little bit inflated, or our service can be a little bit inflated because we think we're someone that we're not quite there yet. I would like to think that I am more on the other side of the spectrum where I'm charging too low. However, I'm sure there's been times when I have done the other. I do know that when my book came out, I did have a little bit of an ego at first, thinking, okay, now everyone's going to have to pay me $5,000 an hour because my book came out. Newsflash, that did not happen. And I didn't even try to charge that, just for the record. But it didn't change things like I really thought it was going to change things. And that's because my internal mechanism hadn't changed and really caught up with this idea of my book. And it's so funny too. I really thought my book would change everything overnight. And it has been a huge blessing. And it's just been more of a humbling experience more than anything else, because just because you have a book doesn't mean all of a sudden you're going to become this multi-millionaire or that people are going to knock down on your door to offer you speaking gigs. But what it really does do is it really does allow you to have a better business card, a better, this is my heart on a platter. This is who I am. This is how I want to serve the world. And people just get you better. And I think one of my biggest blessings is having people who join my mindset mastermind who have read my book or started to read my book, and they really get me. They get my sense of my heart, my work, my purpose, my mission on planet Earth. And that has been a tremendous blessing. I also know that my book was a seed, and I have not seen the full gestation period or the growth of it and how it's actually going to come forth and really impact the world in a really beautiful way. Now, number two thing that I want you to know about insecurity is that it can also be a feeling of that you are not important. I feel like this is the worst feeling in the world, feeling of unimportance. They say that they've done studies, and being ignored feels worse than people hating on you and yelling at you. And it's because you're not even worth acknowledging that you exist. I remember I had a family member when I came out who was very disappointed that I had come out and was very hurt that I wasn't honest that I was gay. And for the first time since I had been born, they did not acknowledge my birthday. And to this day, it still triggers me a little bit on my birthday because it was so painful. It was so painful because I love this person so much. And to think that they didn't acknowledge my existence made me feel so small, so insignificant. And when you look at awards in your industry, when you look at milestones in your industry, when you look at titles, when you look at all these external accolades, a book, all of it can easily become a source of importance to make you feel important. And the truth is, as soon as you're using external things to cause you to make you feel important, oftentimes that's when God will want to strip some of those away so that you realize that your importance is not determined by an award. It's not determined by a sales goal. It's not determined by how your industry perceives you. You are important because you are created by your creator, because you are unique, because of who you are. That alone makes you important. Likewise, if someone doesn't have an award, if someone doesn't have the sales, if someone doesn't have the car, doesn't have the money, you as a human being and as a business leader need to remember that that does not mean that that person is not important and not valuable in God's eyes, and that they are. That they are worthy of love, they are worthy of respect, they are worthy of everything that you want too. There is no difference between you and them. They are worthy in their creator's eyes. The third thing I want you to know about insecurity is that insecurity will cause us to do really weird things to make us feel more valued and important than we are. This can mean investing in a program that you are actually not ready to invest in just so you can say invest in it and make yourself feel better. It could mean stepping outside of your comfort zone to do something to make yourself feel important when you really shouldn't be doing it. I mean, there's so many different ways. And here's the really cool thing about this. I'm not saying that every piece of your business, let me rephrase this. What I'm saying is that what truly matters when you're making decisions in your business is the intention and the heart behind it versus what it actually is. The best way to get rewards is when you're not seeking the reward. When you're just seeking up to serve people and to show up and to help people and to be a light in the world, and then you get rewarded for it, I feel like that's the real purpose and intention of rewards. And I had really clear, heartfelt intentions in my book. And I felt like when my book came out, I started to lose sight of that a little bit because of my own emotional insecurities. And so I just want to remind all of you that the goals of your business and the reasons why you do things in your business should always be about serving other people, helping the world in new and exciting ways with the gifts God gave you, and not about the shiny bell syndrome and the accolades and the awards, because they can always be taken away. And if you are focused on serving people and loving that piece, and if that's where you get your fulfillments, you are going to find yourself building a business that is not built on insecurity, and that because it's not built on insecurity, people can't take away that from you, because you're going to have this incredible internal sense of joy and pride and love of the people you served, and not about the external rewards that others can provide to you that just makes you feel better because you are already an insecure person. And let me just be real, y'all, you're talking about me who has been an insecure person. I remember though, one of my favorite things that's ever happened to me, y'all, was when I was in high school and I just studied because I didn't want to get grounded. I mean, really, I studied a lot because my parents always expected a lot in me. And was actually reading a note from my mom from high school where she said, I know I've been really hard on you, but I'm hard on you because those who God has been given a lot is expected. And I feel like he's put a lot inside of you. And I want to bring that out in you. Ooh, I'm getting emotional because it's a really powerful letter and I still have it and I love it. And I love my mom dearly. And I had gotten sick. It was my junior year in high school. I had gotten sick. They were having the reward ceremony that they have at the end of the year where they recognize, for every single main topic or class, they get awards for each grade level. And I remember my mom coming home and she was like, you won 3 awards today. I was like, what? I was like, I'm not the smartest person in any of these classes. I had no expectation of getting any awards or any accolades from anybody. And she said, no, you won 3 awards. You won the Honors Algebra 2 award, you won the Honors Physics award, and you won the Speech award. And I was just flabbergasted. And I think what I love so much about that story is the best awards are the ones that you don't expect. The best awards are the ones that you don't see coming, when you can't believe why you receive them. And that is the true overflow of grace, free and unmerited favor when you feel like you really don't deserve it. And I also feel like God loves it because your heart is in the right spot. You're not seeking these rewards, or just kind of given to you. So I remember that being a really powerful piece. I also remember when I got the Expert of the Year award from Wanderlust Campus for their mastermind programs. And I remember that being really special too. And the reason why that was so special to me was because it was voted on all of the students of the program. It was the first time that they'd given an expert award to any of the experts. And it was deeply emotional for me because I've been doing it for several years. And in giving of the service, there was no award. There was no award. The award and the superlative or the opportunity to receive the award came without me ever expecting that to be a thing. And I do remember getting nervous when I found out that they were going to let the students vote. And I was like, oh my goodness, because it was going to mean so much to me. I really needed that encouragement. Oh, my insecurity needed that validation that what I was doing mattered, because I wasn't sure I was on the right path. I wasn't sure if I was on the right track to help people. And I really, really, really needed to know from God that I was on the right path, that I was on the right track, that I was helping people, that I was making a difference. And so that one was important after the fact. But in terms of serving that community and serving that mastermind and serving those people, that was never the intention of getting an award. The intention was always just to serve people and to help people to the biggest way possible. So the last thing I want to say about insecurity is that you got to let go of not being enough, because God already says that you are enough. You got to let go of needing validation and approval from other people, because if you require validation and approval from other people to feel good about yourself, then when they don't give it, you're going to feel really terrible about yourself. And if you need the validation and approval from vendors, from partners, from other people, then when they stop giving it to you, again, you're going to feel really bad and terrible about yourself. So just remember that the only person that you ever need validation and approval from, that you are worth something, is God. Find your security in Him. Find your security in what the gifts He's given you. And remember that He already says that you are valuable, that you are worthy in His sight, that you are precious. And let that just be enough. And y'all, this is not an easy thing. You're talking to me who's been insecure because people made fun of my voice. People called me a faggot. People called me all sorts of things in high school. I had people abandon me and reject me when I came out. I did reparative gay therapy in the church, and I was treated like my sin was worse than anybody else's. There was actually a moment where I was doing the Pray the Gay Away, reparative therapy. And I remember that they had separated the men from the women at this church to do this similar 12-step program. And I remember that they had all decided they were all going to get together and they were all going to have a party. And I was the only person that was not invited because they were uncomfortable with who I was. And talk about making you feel insecure when you're already insecure enough in who you are, and then you actually do what everybody tells you need to do, which is change who you are and ask God to take away your ugliness of who you are. And so you go into the church to do that. And then as you go into the church to do that, the church has nothing to do with you and forgets you and gives you lip service. That is a really humiliating and will really make you feel like you are not valued and you are not important. And I did not expect to go there in this podcast episode at all, but y'all need to hear this. And the reason why y'all need to hear this is because there are people, because of how they've treated you, whether it's in your personal life, whether it was in high school, whether it was in your business, whether it was your significant other, maybe your first significant other, maybe you've gotten divorced and you're remarried. But because of how people treat us, we decide that they treat us a certain way because we feel like we're not good enough, because we feel like we're not worthy enough, because we feel like there's something wrong with us. And if you're building a business, that insecurity is an opportunity for not good things to happen inside of your business. You need to allow God's love and grace to heal those insecure pieces so you can be everything you're meant to be, so that you can't be manipulated, so you can't be controlled, so that you can stand in your own personal power and truth and create and serve the world in the way that you've been called to serve through your business. I love you all so much. I want you all to listen to the very next podcast episode in this series. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'm going to link it for you. The next one is going to be all about ego and pride. And it's going to be very, very powerful. If you're listening to this on iTunes or Spotify or wherever my podcast is, make sure you tune in next week for ego, which is part 4 of our 5-part series. I love you so much. Share this with someone who could use some extra encouragement.